This is our latest Magnorail Magician, Barry Hodgkins, celebrating his 95th birthday with some of his family. Now Barry definitely is a retiree, but he's never stopped working and never stopped creating. And part of why we've given him the Magnorail Magician First Class honour is that he's tried different things with his Magnorail. He started off with one set and thought he'd try and improve it. He then got another set and thought he'd extend it. But he's also looking at how Magnorail interacts with his N-scale modelling. Now at 95, his fine motor skills aren't that crash hot, and his family gives him a lot of help. His electrician son has done a lot of the wiring and that on his trains and the Magnorail, but he still has these ideas such as his skyway and his re-railing idea for or not re-railing, putting the chain links in. So Barry, this is a tribute to the work you've been doing. His chain link holder, now you all know you get several spare and odd pieces left over, mainly the extra pieces that join the motor modules together. And so Barry thought, well, he's a bugger trying to get these little blue things joined, and then you drag them over and then they fall apart as you try to get it in the channel. Like Barry, I've got no feeling in the fingertips of my finger. So he created this thing where you make up your chain to one side of the layout, and then you feed it through his loader. Quite simple, just a bit of chopping and changing. He chopped down one of those links to the motor housing links and created like a tongue that slots into the channel. Now you can put another link of channeling in between what you see here, so you can extend that out onto your layout so there's no big jump between where you're feeding and where you're putting it into the channeling. So have a look at it, see how you go, but I commend it to you, and it really does work. Good on you, Barry. Now this is Barry's layout, which has started, and like all our layouts, it just grows. So the initial thing, the tracks haven't changed. There's 3 loops with his tracks, and there is a figure 8 that comes in and around. And his Magnorail started off as a simple, well, it looks like a heart, doesn't it? But with that going around 2 turning circles and back on itself. And he laid that on just the white foam, and then with the foam, he then built it up to get the level of the roadbed matching it. Fairly straightforward. So when he puts the top layer on, she's all level. Which is the main thing with Magnorail. You've got to make sure that your roadbed is equal to the channel height. So there's no lifting out of the magnets at any stage, because if you go into a tight corner, they will pull out. So be very careful with that. He has N-gauge trains, all DCC. His Magnorail for his boats. Now, Barry said to me, where can I get N-scale yachts? Well, I looked around and they are very hard to get. But with Magnorail, you can shift anything. So Barry decided, well, if I can't do that, I'll make my own. And later on, we'll see some of the ones that he's made. He also has the fella car system, which is the little red bus that you see driving around. It has some problems. It stops and starts in the wrong places. But you can see the red car going around here at the moment. That's on his original Magnorail setup. It goes around, does a turn through the turning loops and away again. Fairly straightforward. And that's the end of the layout there as the trains come around. Barry thought he'd do an extension, so he put in this extra bit, a standalone Magnorail unit, and this time he used MDF and has got it level and worked on that. So these are some of the vehicles you can use in N scale, as long as the wheels don't have to move. The silver and red and blue ones are fixed wheels, just using magnets underneath, and they go around quite well. So that was his first bit, the boats. Then he did his heart-shaped one. There's some balloons flying over his property. And then he thought, I want to make this a bit bigger and join it all together. So he's doing what he called the flyover. And so that initial one you saw down the side there that he did the extension for, he thought he'd join that into the main system, and instead of doing a turning loop, it would then go across a flyover bridge and then round the memorial and back again. So yeah, he's quite innovative. The layout wasn't big enough, so he did an extension to the layout. And here we go with the silver car going around. As I'm about to say, we sell these N-scale cars that don't have movable wheels. And here's some of the boats that he built. His daughter Wendy helped paint them, and she's been a great asset to Barry, as have a number of his family that have done certain things. And a friend builds a lot of the fine models now, just purely because he just hasn't got the ability to do fine modelling work. But the DCC is good.
It's all DCC.
I mean, anyone can use DCC. Well, when I say anyone, anything, or maybe Nip the dog, his faithful companion, just having a go on the controls there. But the trains run flawlessly with the DCC. Barry toots the horns, toots the horns, the bells, whistle, and so on. But it just runs flawlessly.
There you go.
Now you notice in the top picture here, it's static at the moment, is his skyway. He's about to just get it going again. Totally scratch built by Barry. It actually uses a spare slow motor that Barry's got. He started off with a slow motor kit for his boats, and then he upgraded that and kept the motors.
Where it was all going.
And then he thought, oh, right, what'll I do with this? So he created this skyway. Now, once again, you've got a man's imagination that probably exceeds his modelling abilities, but between him and his sons, they were able to make this work. And they created a silicon mould, just with the silicon you buy at the hardware shop, and a blank, made a wooden blank, and then moulded it around that, popped it out, and then created the scenario, the scene, with some figures on a bench for inside the gondola, and then filled it with epoxy resin, and there you have it. Very basic. Anyone can really do it. It's all within the realms of doability. And just remember, this guy's 95, going on 96. He's got more ideas and intends expanding further, and also he sees it as a pleasure thing for him, but also for his family and visitors, and the grandkids just love it. They love coming out to his room, his train room. It did start in the garage, but then it expanded too much for the garage, so it came into the train room. So there goes the fella car, the red bus. He said, I get tired, sometimes it'll run out of battery in a tunnel. He said, you don't have to worry about Magnorail doing that, it just keeps going. So yes, it's one of the drawbacks of the Feller car system. Plus, you're restricted to whatever models that they have. Beautiful little loco here going around.
You certainly haven't been sitting on your hands, have you?
This is the second one I've done, but I would never have started this one.
My wife Lois and I and Robert from our train club, we went to the Epping show in 2023, and Barry came and invited us out for tea and back to his place to have a look at his train set, and it was really great. It was really great. I put Barry on the same level as me. I've got all the ideas, but my modelling skills aren't crash hot either. They're not the fine modellers of the Luke Towans and what have you, but we love it. And we love creating, we love seeing things in action, we love seeing an idea come to fruition. A concept that's thought out or dreamed about, all of a sudden, bang, it's there, and things are moving. And I think that's the beauty of Magnorail. You do have to dream about it for a bit. You do have to try and think, well, what if I do this, or what if I do that, And then you test it, and I know Barry had quite a few times where he was going to throw things through the wall, but he persevered. He persevered to the extent that now he can just extend things and it all works. It all just goes. So credit to Barry, and I think he deserves his first class magician title. And it won't stop. I know he's got other ideas that he wants to try out. I don't know if Wendy will help him to extend the house to be able to accommodate it. So there's the Magnorail motor, as I was saying. He's been able to link that onto the spindle there, the turning wheel. And you can see the people inside the gondola, and that's just epoxy. So he set up the scene with the people and the seats, put them into the mould that he created, and then filled it with epoxy, with resin. And it does the job. It does the job. So you can really do whatever you like. It gets a bit annoyed when it gets a bit wobbly, but it does sort out. It does sort itself out. But if you were to buy something similar, you're probably looking at $300-400 for that length. So his innovative ideas are saving his money, but also increasing his enjoyment of his layout. So thank you, Barry, for your hospitality when we went to Epping. We'll see you up there when you'll be 96.
So what's it called? Has it got a name?
You can call it hodgepodge.
Tell us what you think about Barry's layout, and give us a thumbs up. All comments are appreciated. I asked Barry what it was called. He said, a bit of a hodgepodge, so it's now the hodgepodge layout. Okay, catch you then.